She had her girls' weekend. I had my erase her from my life weekend. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't punch a wall. I didn't even say anything. I stood there, holding her red coffee mug, the one with the little chip on the handle she never let me throw out, and watched her pull out of the driveway like she was heading to a spa retreat instead of walking straight into the arms of another man. And as her taillights faded into the morning haze, I set the mug down and finally listened to that low, ugly voice in my head that had been whispering at me for months. You already know, don't you? It wasn't a single moment that did it. It was the slow, aching erosion of something I once thought was unbreakable. Amanda used to laugh with her eyes. Now, she barely looked at me when I spoke. Conversations turned into formalities. Her scent changed, new perfume, one I never complimented because I never got close enough. She said I was being distant, said I was tired, distracted, that I needed to reconnect with myself. The irony. She left Friday morning, light on her feet, practically skipping to her car with that little overnight bag I bought her for her birthday last year. The same bag she later used to pack her lingerie for someone else. I remember standing there in the front hallway after the door closed, and for a few minutes I just existed, like a loading screen in a game that never starts. Something about the silence of the house hit different that morning. Not peaceful, just vacant. That's when I opened the hall closet. Top shelf. The black box. I hadn't touched it in years. Not since Amanda and I moved in together. Inside, old receipts, outdated chargers, and my backup phone. The one I used to use when I traveled for work. It still had a charger coiled around it like a sleeping snake. I plugged it in, let it power up. And just like that, I had eyes again. No shared cloud. No suspicious syncing. Just quiet, separate watching. That evening, I installed a location-sharing app on the backup phone. She'd logged into our home Wi-Fi before she left. Took 3 clicks and she was linked. I wasn't proud of it. Still not. But I was done being gaslit. Done with the late-night showers. The sleepovers at Caitlin's that didn't line up with her Instagram stories. The headaches that always seemed to hit right before we got close. Around 8:42 p.m., her dot landed on a place that wasn't a hotel. Not a cabin. It was a house. Suburban. On a quiet street I didn't recognize. I stared at the map for 10 minutes straight, watching her dot move closer to the center of the house. Then stop. I stared at the dot until my vision blurred. She didn't move for the next 5 hours. Not even to go out and grab her girls. At 3:15 a.m., I stood up, grabbed my keys, and drove across town. Not to the house. Not yet. I wasn't ready for that. I drove to my brother Eric's place. Let myself in with the spare key and sat on his couch in the dark. He found me there at 6:30, eating dry cereal from the box, eyes bloodshot. Jesus, man. You look like you just dug up a grave. I didn't say anything. I handed him the phone, showed him the location, then the messages. Screenshots from earlier that day, yes, I'd gotten that bold. Airdropped from her laptop to mine. Messages with a man named Tyler. Messages like, he's still so clueless, lol. If I keep this up, I might get a trophy for Best Actress. Don't forget the champagne this time. And the blue candles. You know what they do to me. Eric read them in silence, then let out a long, low whistle. I knew something was off with her, but damn, this is cold. Yeah, cold. Like a knife straight from the freezer. Eric didn't say much after that. He just stood there in his sweatpants and grabbed 2 beers from the fridge. We sat in silence, watching the morning light creep through the blinds like it was ashamed of what it had to reveal. You gonna go over there? He finally asked. No, I said. Not yet, because I wanted more. I didn't want to walk in half-informed and let her flip the script. I'd seen Amanda lie without blinking. I'd watched her twist words like balloon animals. Smiling, wide-eyed, completely unfazed. If I confronted her now, she'd spin it into something else. Say I misunderstood. Blame me. That's what she was good at. Taking your sanity and making you apologize for losing it. So I went home. That afternoon I called Caitlin, her ride-or-die friend, and casually asked if the girls made it to the cabin safely. Caitlin hesitated. "Oh yeah, we're just chilling. Long drive, but we're all here, right? All three of you." I let her talk. She filled in more lies than I could have hoped for. Said they were getting massages soon. That Amanda was already 2 glasses in on the wine. I thanked her, hung up, and felt my stomach twist, because I had just gotten a new ping. Amanda was still at the same house. I waited until that evening. Around 6 p.m. I got dressed in black sweats and a plain tee, threw on a ball cap, and got in my car. The drive took 30 minutes. My heart pounded the entire way, but my hands were steady. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got there. I just knew I had to see it. I needed it seared into my brain so I'd never, ever let myself forget. The neighborhood was a quiet cul-de-sac, middle upper class, wide driveways. Hers was the only car parked out front. I parked 2 houses down and killed the engine. Waited 5 minutes, then walked. As I crept up the side of the house, my breath caught. Through the narrow gap in the blinds, I could see the living room. Amanda's laugh filtered through the open window, a laugh I hadn't heard in months. Not around me, at least. Her hair was down, that same stupid robe she used to wear for me barely clinging to her shoulders. And next to her, arms around her waist, was him, Tyler. Younger than me, smug. The type of guy who uses too much product and thinks a jawline is a personality. He was pouring champagne into 2 flutes while she whispered something into his neck, then tossed her head back and laughed again. I couldn't move. I stood there like a man watching his own funeral. And then, as if the universe couldn't help itself, she turned slightly and my eyes locked on the necklace she was wearing. My mother's necklace. The one I gave her on our 5th anniversary. The one she told me she lost. She lied. She wore it for him. That's when the comm snapped. I didn't break in. I didn't knock. I just turned around and walked away. But I wasn't done. No. That was the moment I decided exactly how I'd end this. Not with yelling. Not with violence. With precision. With finality. When I got back into my car, my hands were shaking for the first time. Not from fear, not even from heartbreak. It was something far deeper. An electric, ugly thing bubbling just below the surface of my skin. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened and stared at my own reflection in the rearview mirror. That necklace. That was the turning point. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the deliberate nature of it. Amanda chose to wear it that night, like she needed a souvenir of the life she was destroying. A trophy. A middle finger to everything we ever were. I sat in my car for almost an hour before I could start the engine. I didn't cry. Couldn't. Felt like something in me had been cauterized. By the time I got home, the house felt like a crime scene. I walked in and everything was wrong. The couch we picked out together. The photos on the wall. Her throw blanket, still draped over her favorite armchair. Every corner of that house echoed with her voice, but all I could hear now were lies. So I started the cleanse. I took down every framed picture of us. Every keepsake. I remember this souvenir we collected over the years. The Paris magnet. The Grand Canyon snow globe. The stupid little photo strip from that fair she dragged me to. Into the trash. I filled 3 full bags with her clothes and boxed them with the neatest, coldest efficiency I've ever managed in my life. Then I found the wedding album. For a second I hesitated. My fingers hovered over it like it might burn me. But then I remembered how she looked tonight, wrapped around him in that robe, laughing like I never existed. I opened it slowly, page by page. There she was in that dress, smiling like she was in a fairy tale. And there I was, looking like the happiest fool who ever walked the earth. I almost pitied that version of me. Naive, blind, devoted to a fantasy. I tore each page out one by one. Not angrily, just methodically. I folded them in half, then again, and dropped them into the fireplace. Lit the match. Watched the paper curl and blacken. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I couldn't. Because I didn't want to. I didn't want to waste another second in the same mental space as her. The next morning, Sunday, she texted me. Amanda, hey babe, heading back soon. Do you want me to grab anything from Whole Foods? I stared at that message for a long time. I could almost hear her voice, fake sweet, casual. Like the past 2 days hadn't happened. Like she wasn't still smelling like him. Like she didn't just lie to my face and to Caitlin's and to God himself and still ask me about FNG groceries. I typed nothing. Instead, I stood up and took her key off my hook, walked to the front door, locked it. Then I placed her key in a little envelope with a sticky note. Give this to Tyler. He'll need it more than I ever did. I didn't send it. Not yet. I had plans. Amanda walked in Sunday evening around 5:30 p.m. like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't watched her through a stranger's blinds the night before. Like she hadn't spent the last 48 hours wrapped around another man wearing my mother's necklace. She dropped her bag at the door and kicked off her shoes. Her smile was automatic. Practiced. Hey babe, she said, walking toward me in the kitchen. Miss me? I just looked at her. She stepped forward for a hug, but I shifted, letting her arms graze my shoulder. She froze, her smile flickering. Something wrong. I didn't answer. I let the silence do the heavy lifting. The air turned dense. She looked around the kitchen, maybe realizing for the first time that something had changed. The wedding photo was missing from the fridge. Her favorite mug wasn't in its usual place. Her pink slippers were gone from under the counter. What's going on? She asked, voice thinner now. I finally spoke. Where were you, Amanda? Her face twisted like I'd insulted her. Seriously? I told you. With Caitlin and Rachel. Don't lie to me, I said flatly. She blinked. There it was, that flicker of panic, gone just as fast as it appeared. Excuse me? I stepped to the counter and picked up my laptop, turned the screen to face her. The message thread was still open. Tyler's name was clear. So were the pictures. And the timestamps. Amanda didn't gasp, didn't cry. She crossed her arms and stared at the screen like she was grading a student's paper. Wow, she said. You really went through my stuff? That's what you're leading with? I asked. Not the part where you've been cheating on me? Sleeping with him? Wearing the necklace you said you lost? Her lip curled. Don't be dramatic. I laughed. Loud. Sharp. Dramatic? You called me clueless while planning your little spa night with Tyler. You called me pathetic in one of those texts. She rolled her eyes. You were never supposed to see that. Oh, I'm well aware. For a moment, she looked down, then back up with that cold, dismissive smirk I hadn't seen in years but suddenly remembered too well. The one she used on waiters when her order was wrong. On telemarketers. Now on me. You're not exactly a saint either, she snapped. You've been distant for months. I felt like I was living with a ghost. I needed something real. Something real. I stepped forward. Then why lie? Why sneak around? Why keep using me while you played house with him? Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. For once, she didn't have a script. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stared at her until the silence made her fidget. I want you out, I said finally. Tonight. Her jaw dropped. You're not serious. I've already packed your things. They're in the garage. She scoffed. So what, you're just ending 10 years like that? No, I said. You ended it. I'm just finally closing the door. Amanda didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She walked past me, slow and spiteful, grabbed her bag from the entryway, and slammed the door to the garage. I stood alone in the kitchen as the garage door buzzed open. I thought that would be the worst of it. But I was wrong, because that night after she left, she sent me one last message. Amanda, you'll regret this. I always land on my feet. And that was when I knew. She hadn't hit bottom yet, but she would. That message sat on my phone like a bruise that wouldn't fade. You'll regret this. I always land on my feet. I didn't respond. I let it rot in the blue bubble graveyard with all the other things she'd said that used to matter. But the audacity of it, it kept me up. Not because I feared her landing on her feet. No, I knew she would. That was Amanda's whole existence. She never stumbled unless it was into someone else's arms. What kept me awake was the way she weaponized certainty. Like her betrayal was just a power play, a chess move, and I'd made the mistake of flipping the board. That she was still in control. So I took it back. The next morning, I contacted my attorney. I'd never needed one before, but now I wanted someone sharp, fast, and relentless. I found a woman named Jessica Miller, specialized in high-conflict divorce. I sent her everything: screenshots, message logs, photos, the works. Within hours, she had a strategy. Amanda had no prenup. Half the house, sure, but everything else? Fair game. And more importantly, infidelity-proof shifts leverage. By Tuesday, the papers were ready. But before I served them, I made one more move. I messaged Caitlin. Just a simple text. "Hey, thanks for lying for Amanda. Thought you should know she's not as slick as she thinks." Took her 7 minutes to respond. "Caitlin, wait, what? I didn't lie. Amanda told me you knew. She said you were cool with it. Said your marriage was basically over." There it was. Amanda had been running a whole second narrative. Not just to me, but to her friends, too. She'd made herself the victim in a fantasy breakup where I was cold, distant, unloving. So when she started seeing Tyler, it wasn't cheating. It was moving on. Classic Amanda. Caitlin followed up with 3 more texts. Apologies. Shock. Disgust. She said she hadn't even known about Tyler until recently. Just assumed Amanda was with some rebound. I told her not to worry. It wasn't her lie to carry. The real twist came later that day when Tyler messaged me. He messaged me, found me on Instagram, sent a long, dramatic DM. "Tyler, look man, I didn't know she was still with you. She told me you two were separated. I'm not about this kind of drama. I'm sorry." I stared at that message for a solid 10 minutes. Because that's when it hit me. Amanda had been lying to both of us. 2 lives, 2 versions of herself. And now the stories were colliding. So I replied, "She's all yours now. Enjoy cleaning up the mess." He left me on read. By Wednesday, Amanda showed up unannounced. She knocked like she owned the place. I didn't open the door. "Logan!" she shouted from outside. "This is ridiculous. Be a man and talk to me." I watched her through the peephole, arms crossed, her expression flickering between fury and panic. She wasn't used to this, to being shut out. She thrived on confrontation because it meant she was still relevant. After a full minute, I finally opened the door, just wide enough to pass her the envelope. "Consider this the last thing you'll ever get from me." She opened it right there. Her expression froze. "Divorce papers." "You're kidding," she whispered. "I'm not. And if you try to make this messy, I'll show the judge the messages." Her jaw clenched. She looked like she wanted to lunge at me, but her pride wouldn't let her beg. "Not yet. You'll regret this," she hissed. "You think anyone's going to love you after this? You're damaged." I smiled. "So were you. But unlike you, I'm fixing it." She left, furious, but quiet. For now, it took her 3 days to come back swinging. Thursday morning, I got a call from my boss. Said he wanted to check in after hearing something concerning. I sat there, half asleep with a mug of black coffee cooling in my hand, heart starting to beat harder as he spoke. Apparently, Amanda had called HR, told them she was worried about my mental state, claimed I'd been making threats, subtle things calculated, vague enough to trigger a red flag without giving them a reason to dismiss her entirely. The perfect sabotage. That was her new angle. If she couldn't control the narrative romantically, she'd control it professionally. I was ready. I sent my boss the email thread with my lawyer and a formal notice about the pending divorce. I included time-stamped copies of Amanda's messages and calmly explained I'd been documenting the entire process. He backed off fast, said to take the time I need, and offered to keep things confidential. I thanked him, then sat back in my chair. Amanda wasn't trying to come back. She was trying to burn what was left. I kept quiet the rest of the day. Didn't respond to her messages. She sent 4, all with escalating tone. "You're really going through with this? You've ruined everything. Tyler's not even talking to me now. You twisted this, you know that?" I tried to tell the truth. "I hope you rot in that empty house." It wasn't anger that hit me. It was sadness. Not for her, but for the version of me that once built a life around someone like her. Someone who lied so naturally she forgot she was doing it. Who weaponized affection like currency. Who wore my dead mother's necklace while straddling a man she barely knew. I took that necklace back, by the way. Snuck it from the garage before she left the first time. It's in a drawer now. I'm not keeping it out of sentiment. I'm keeping it as evidence of what I survived. That night, Caitlin called. She sounded tense. I don't want to get in the middle, she said. But Amanda's spiraling. She told Rachel you cheated on her. That you hit her. That she's the one filing. I didn't even blink. She's in damage control mode, I said. She knows what's coming. What is coming? Caitlin asked, and her voice dropped lower. Because if you're sitting on something big, now's the time. See, what Amanda didn't realize in her panic was that Tyler had also started talking. Quietly, carefully, a few mutual connections. And what I found out was that she wasn't just seeing him. She was using him. Financially, emotionally. She told him she'd been abused. Said I threatened her with a knife once. That I isolated her. She had a whole victim role rehearsed, complete with bruises she blamed on yoga accidents and clumsiness. And Tyler? He'd started to realize just how deep the manipulation ran. He sent me one last message. Tyler, I'm out. You were right. She lied to both of us. I feel sick. Good luck, man. I mean it. I saved the message. Every digital breadcrumb she left behind was now cataloged, timestamped, and filed. I wasn't planning revenge. I was building immunity. Friday came and Amanda finally went quiet. No texts, no calls, no surprise drop-ins or twisted messages pretending to be remorse. And for the first time in weeks, the silence wasn't tense. It was clean. I could breathe again. That morning, I opened the bedroom windows for the first time since she left. The air felt sharp, honest. I stripped the bed. New sheets. New energy. Her old perfume was still clinging to the pillows, so I dumped them in the trash. I wouldn't give my memories another thread to hold on to. Around noon, Jessica, my lawyer, called. I got her response, she said. She's contesting the divorce. I didn't flinch. Of course she is. She's saying there was no infidelity. Claims Tyler was a friend and that you're retaliating emotionally. I laughed. That's her defense? Jessica didn't laugh. She's also requesting temporary spousal support. There it was. The next play. Not just to hurt me, but to bleed me. She says she gave up her career for you. That she deserves help transitioning. She left her job 3 years ago because she wanted to find herself. I paid for every retreat, yoga class, and juice cleanse. Jessica sighed. Then it won't stand. But she's going to drag this if we let her. We can fast track with evidence. You still have the messages. All of them. Plus one more thing. I opened my laptop, clicked the folder labeled Amanda Final, and uploaded a screen recording of her call with Tyler. One of the last FaceTimes they had before I confronted her. Recorded after I linked her iPad to a screen mirror app. She'd left it synced to our home Wi-Fi. Her mistake. In the video, she says clearly, he has no idea. He thinks I'm still at the cabin. I told him we're working on things. I just need a few more months. Then I'll be gone. He's too weak to do anything anyway. Too weak. I'd replayed that clip until the words didn't sting anymore. Now they just confirmed what I knew all along. Amanda never thought I'd stand up to her. She thought I'd swallow the betrayal like I swallowed everything else. The gaslighting, the silence, the emotional distance, the faked headaches, and the I'm just tired tonight. Jessica's voice came through the line again. That recording's gold. With that, the messages, and Tyler's DM, we can press for misconduct. Possibly even deny her alimony entirely. Do it, I said. Burn the whole bridge. And I meant it. Later that day, Caitlin texted me again. Caitlin, just a heads up. Amanda's trying to get ahead of this. She posted some long story on Facebook. She's calling you emotionally abusive. Claims you manipulated her into silence and wouldn't let her leave. I didn't even bother looking it up. She's spiraling, I told Caitlin. She's terrified. she replied. Good. Because it wasn't about revenge anymore. It wasn't about heartbreak. It was about truth. And Amanda had spent so long rewriting history that she forgot something important. I kept receipts. Saturday morning brought an eerie calm. No texts, no surprises, no ambushes from her truth crusade. Just the quiet hum of a house finally purging its ghost. I stood in the kitchen, watching the coffee drip, when I realized something simple and brutal. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to brace for anything. No walking on eggshells. No decoding moods. No wondering who she'd be when she walked in the door. Amanda was a storm. Loud, sudden, always expecting someone else to pick up the debris after she passed through. But now, she was out there trying to whip up sympathy from people who were slowly catching on that she wasn't the victim. She was the arsonist. Around noon, I got a message request from an unknown number. I opened it. Rachel, her other best friend. Hey, I don't know what to believe anymore, but Amanda's losing it. She's telling people you're stalking her, that you threatened to leak her photos. Did you? I stared at the message, jaw clenching. That was low even for Amanda. I replied with one word, no. Then, after a pause, I added, I've kept everything to myself. She's the one trying to rewrite the ending. Rachel didn't answer right away, but 2 hours later, she messaged again. Rachel, she said you hit her, that you threw her stuff out and locked her in a bathroom once. I know it sounds crazy, but she's crying. She's got people believing it. I walked to the bathroom, opened the door, looked at the full-length mirror. No rage, no panic, just exhaustion. That bathroom story? Pure fiction. Amanda had always been good at emotional bait. Cry on cue, twist a memory, leave out enough details to make herself seem small, fragile, cornered. But I had never raised a hand to her. Not once. My only crime was loving someone who saw that as a weakness. I texted Jessica immediately. Me? She's making abuse allegations now. Wants to flip the whole thing. Should we go nuclear? Jessica. Not yet. We'll file the misconduct claim officially Monday. After that, if she escalates, we respond publicly with the evidence. Until then, stay quiet. Let her drown herself. And that's what I did. I stayed silent, took a walk, ate alone at the diner near the park. Let her lie her way into a corner. Sunday morning, Rachel called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. I talked to Tyler. I know she's lying. I'm so sorry. I don't know how I didn't see it before. You deserved better. I replayed it once. That was the shift. Amanda had overplayed her hand. Lied too loud, too fast, too wide. And now people were comparing notes. And guess what? Her stories didn't match. So I got to work. I drafted my own statement. Nothing wild. Just the facts. Just screenshots. Just her own words. I didn't post it yet. I saved it. Because I knew Amanda. She wasn't done. But neither was I. Amanda came back Monday afternoon. Not physically. She wouldn't dare after the legal notice I filed that morning. But she sent an email. Subject line, closure. As if that's what she ever wanted. The email started like a monologue from a daytime soap. Dramatic, self-pitying, glazed in fake wisdom. I know I've made mistakes, she wrote. But we both know this didn't happen in a vacuum. You were distant, cold, emotionally unavailable. I tried to reach you. I tried to reconnect. And when I couldn't, I found someone who made me feel like I mattered again. I read it twice, then once more slower, trying to find even a flicker of sincerity. There was none. It was a confession with a mirror held up to me, not her. A final attempt to turn her cheating into some kind of empowered narrative. To rebrand betrayal as survival. She didn't admit anything. She reframed it all. Claimed Tyler was an accident. That she was confused. That she never meant to hurt me. Then the kicker. If we can avoid dragging this out, I think that would be best for both of us. No need to involve everyone. Let's just move on peacefully, like adults. Translation. Don't expose me. Don't embarrass me. Let me keep my image. I didn't reply. Jessica filed the misconduct claim an hour later. Amanda's email became part of the packet. The contradictions between her timeline and Tyler's messages were now official. The judge would see everything. And by Monday evening, her mask started to crack. I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown. Just so you know, Amanda's been calling everyone. She told me you forged those texts, that you're unstable. But I've seen the screenshots. She's unraveling, man. Turns out word was spreading. Quietly but fast. Amanda hadn't realized how quickly people talk when the lies get obvious. Friends she thought were loyal were asking questions, comparing notes, forwarding screenshots. She tried to shift gears, messaging Caitlin next. Amanda, he's going to ruin me. Please just talk to him. Tell him I didn't mean for it to go this far. Caitlin sent the screenshot to me, and then added, she's scared. You're winning. Don't stop. But it wasn't about winning anymore. It was about truth. And truth has gravity. Even when whispered, it pulls the liars down. Tuesday morning arrived with a shift in the air, subtle but certain. I was standing by the kitchen window, watching the sprinklers flick on in the neighbor's yard, when the phone buzzed. Jessica again. Her voice came through crisp and steady. She's requesting mediation. I closed my eyes for a second. Of course she was. She doesn't want this to go to court, Jessica continued. Says she's willing to waive spousal support. Agree to the property split. She just wants it to be quiet. There it was. The panic disguised as compromise. Amanda knew what was coming, and she was trying to control the fallout. Not to fix anything, but to limit how badly her name would burn when the truth finally hit the light. I didn't answer right away. I just sat down at the kitchen table, looking around the house like I was seeing it for the first time in a year. Without her junk. Without her perfume haunting the corners. Without her energy, a constant weight on the back of my neck. I want her to admit it, I said quietly. On paper. Jessica paused. You mean a signed acknowledgement? Yes, that she lied. That she cheated. That she attempted to smear me with false accusations. I can write that in. But she's not going to like it. I don't care what she likes. We ended the call there. Jessica would draw up the amendment to the agreement. It wasn't about revenge. It was about record. I didn't want Amanda to twist the story 10 years from now into something it never was. I wanted the truth carved into paper. Permanent. Undeniable. That evening, Amanda tried a new tactic. She emailed me again. No subject line this time. No dramatic prose. Just a single line. If you keep pushing this, I'll have nothing left. I stared at the screen for a long time. That line was meant to sound tragic. Human. But all I saw was manipulation wrapped in guilt. If she wanted peace, she could have had it. 12 times. She chose war. She chose deceit. She chose to destroy the truth, burn bridges, and stand on the ashes like she was entitled to pity. And now she was asking for mercy from the person she buried? No. I forwarded the message to Jessica. Another file for the record. Another stone in the foundation of what would be the final boundary between her chaos and my future. That night, for the first time in weeks, I slept through without waking up once. Not because it was over, but because it was finally in my control. Wednesday came with a silence that felt intentional, too quiet, like the moment before a storm finally gives up and dies out. Amanda hadn't responded to the amended divorce terms yet. The ones Jessica drafted with surgical precision. No spousal support, no claims to my personal assets, no manipulation of our history, and most importantly, an acknowledgement of misconduct. Her cheating, her lies, her defamation. It was a clean, final cut. But Amanda didn't like clean. She liked chaos. Her silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. So I waited. Midday, Jessica called again. She responded. And she agreed. I didn't say anything. She signed the acknowledgement. No edits. No comments. Just her signature. She'll waive alimony, back off property claims, and settle out of court. There it was. The end. Not with fireworks. Not with screaming or begging or some dramatic apology. Just a signature on a cold document that told the story she had spent months trying to erase. Felt anticlimactic. I expected to feel triumphant, vindicated. I didn't. I just felt like I'd survived something I never should have had to endure. That night, Caitlin messaged me again. Caitlin, she's gone quiet, deleted her socials. She told Rachel she's leaving town for a while. I stared at the message for a long time, then typed back, good. She needs to sit with it. Because that's what she'd never done before, sit with it. She always moved fast, lied fast, recovered fast, landed on her feet like she said. But not this time. Now she had to live with the truth. On paper, in silence, no audience, no applause. I stepped out onto the porch with a drink that night. Just me, the sound of cicadas in the summer dark, and a long, cool breath of air. And for the first time since that stupid girls' weekend, I felt clean. I hadn't just erased her from my house. I'd erased her from my story. It's been 6 weeks since Amanda signed. I got the finalized divorce documents in the mail last Tuesday, thick envelope, heavy with quiet. I didn't open it right away, just held it, sat on the edge of the bed, and looked around my room. Clean walls, new bedsheets, no perfume in the air, no more second guesses, no more hidden tabs on a laptop, no more wondering where the hell she really was when she said she'd be home late. Just silence, the good kind this time. When I finally opened the envelope, I read the pages slowly. Each clause felt like closure. Each line of her signature, neat and cornered, felt like the final breath of a ghost that had lingered too long in my life. I didn't cry. I didn't toast. I didn't even tell anyone at first. I just sat still. Because this wasn't victory. This was freedom. A few days later, Tyler messaged me again, short, blunt. Tyler. She tried to contact me. I blocked her. Just wanted to say, thanks for exposing it all. I was hooked, man. You saved me a year of hell. I didn't reply. What was there to say? He was a chapter in her mess, just like I'd been. He got the shorter version, sure, but at least he had a warning. I didn't. I walked in blind and called it love. Amanda disappeared off social media. No more curated posts. No more cryptic captions. Rachel told Caitlin she moved back to her hometown to reset. Probably working on the next version of her truth. Probably shopping for a new audience. But this time I don't care. Because I'm not looking back anymore. Not checking her location. Not wondering what if. Not letting her live in my head rent-free. The house feels different now. Every room has been touched by this purge. New pictures. New furniture. Hell, I even repainted the guest room Amanda never let me touch because she liked the color as is. That color is gone. Just like her. People say healing comes slow. Maybe they're right. But sometimes healing looks like a stack of documents, a deleted number, and a quiet house that doesn't lie to you. So here's my advice. For anyone reading this and wondering if it's worth confronting the truth, do it. Even if it shatters everything. Even if it leaves you gutted. Because what's left afterward is real. Honest. Yours. And trust me, peace is a better companion than any beautiful liar will ever be.